Hey, what's up? I'm here with Wicked One, Scott Eames. He's a worldwide touring and studio musician from the awesome bands Nevalra and the Antichrist. What's up, Scott?
Hey, appreciate you guys having me on the show again.
Oh, thank you for coming on the show. We love having you here.
Yeah, it's a pretty good show. I try to tune in when I can.
Thank you. You're awesome. I know you've been busy and you've had a lot going on since we last spoke. So before we discuss all that, can you give everyone a brief history of Nevalra and the band?
Yeah, Nevalra, I started in 2013, I think. I just started as a group of songs with no title to it yet, and it kind of rose from the ashes of some other bands that had some, decent success that was on a good path, and as those bands kind of dissolved themselves, Nevalra kind of brought itself out from there, and I brought in Cody Sprock, which is the bass player, and Zach Lindsay was the original drummer, kind of got us off and rolling, and he's actually relocated since, and we've had Adrian Galindo from Houston has been playing drums for us here recently, and so we're still a three-piece. We just put out a couple albums, and that's how Nevalra got started, off and running pretty quickly.
That's cool, and I know you have a long-awaited release that just came out, and it was Conjure the Storm, and tell us about that release and what you had to go through to get where you are with it now.
Oh, it's crazy getting that album out. We had a lot of the material for it actually recorded and complete before, 2 years before this album, and didn't quite work out the way we needed it to, so we kind of waited rather than just releasing them independently, which was a really good move. We signed a record deal with In Theory Audio, and they have their hand in everything, with the top-notch everything. We got under contract with Extreme Management Group, so they kind of took over a lot of the business part of it, and so it picked up pretty dramatically, and they needed that album to come out real quick. So we kind of threw together the best 10 songs that I had available to us, and we went in to record it. And what's crazy about it, when we were recording it, I was actually joining the Antichrist, so I was learning all their material by ear. At the same time, I was tracking all the guitars, vocals, and working with all the studio stuff to get the Nevalra album done. So that was like the worst and best 2 months of my life, trying to get all that done at the same time.
I know.
But we went in, we got the drums recorded with one of our best buddies, Simon, who lives in Seattle, plays in a band called Drawn and Quartered, old school death metal, and he absolutely crushed the drums. It was insane to watch how quickly he got the drums done. I'm not used to watching drummers go through without that many takes. And so we went into Apollo Alternative Audio, and they recorded all the drums, and all the rest of it was all recorded at my home studio, which is Secret Seance Studios. And we had Dan Swano mix and master for us, which is awesome because he's kind of the industry standard when it comes to metal nowadays. He's worked with Opeth, Dark Funeral, Dissection, and 700 other bands. So it was really cool to get him on board because he's really busy, and he works with, like I said, the best in the industry. So he's very particular about who he'll work with. He doesn't have to just pick up all this, all these bands that want him to mix and master. So when he said he would work with us, I was really excited to have him on board, and I think he nailed the mix and master on Conjure the Storm. And one of my other good buddies, Seth from Septic Flesh, actually did the artwork for the album, and he actually did a bunch of different covers, and he sent me about 10 versions of that cover, and we kind of narrowed it down to 2 of them, and both of us couldn't decide which one we liked better, and we kind of came up with the idea of using an alternate cover for the vinyl, so we get to actually keep both of them. So that's more or less a year and a half summed up of getting that all together. The album itself we tracked in about 2 months or so, but all the business end of the record deal, getting all the artwork and all the digital distribution, physical distribution, all those things, getting all the vinyls pressed, that of course took time. And then we had to work on getting an album release tour.
Yep.
So that's where the European tour came in.
Yeah, I didn't know who approached you for that, but I thought that was really killer when I saw you guys were going on that tour.
Yeah, we were looking for an album release tour for a while. We wanted to make sure it was a wow tour. We didn't want to just jump on, a medium-sized tour for an album that we felt that was going to be a pretty big hit to the industry. Like when we dropped it, we were hoping everyone was going to notice, because I felt like it was a really good album, not just because it was ours, but, if I sat back and listened to it as if I was just a fan, it would have excited me. So we wanted to jump on a big tour, not just a regular one. And took a little while to get that done, business-wise. So, get the record label stuff all together, get all of the particulars when it came to the tour, album release tour. So it took a little bit of time. The album was done for a little over a year, actually, before we went on the tour and released the album. So we could have released it a long time ago, but we wanted to do it properly.
Yeah, you did it properly, and we couldn't wait to get the album, and we actually ordered our copy, and we were so excited when we got it. But shucks, I didn't win the guitar.
Yeah, we had that guitar giveaway.
That was awesome.
A pretty cool incentive that BC Rich helped us out with. And, a lot of people jumped on board so they could not only get the pre-order, but to enter and to win that guitar. So that was a pretty cool thing BC Rich did.
That was cool. And what was the guy's name that won, actually? Do you recall?
Tony in Indiana.
That's awesome. Well, big shout out to him, and I hope he's enjoying that guitar, because Mike here wants to know if you have an extra guitar that you won't miss that you might want to sign for him.
Well, he knows I have lots of guitars.
Yeah, he
does.
But
to pry them away from my fingers is not going to be easy.
And I think someone else would be upset if you got rid of them.
Yeah. There's lots of people in line for some of these.
Exactly. Now, with Conjure the Storm, how'd you come up with the name for that album, and, what concept for the whole album came with Conjure the Storm?
I wasn't too sure about the album title for a long while. I just had all the songs prepared, and the title track, Conjure the Storm, it wasn't the title track at the time until we got all the songs tracked. It was mostly done before I knew which song was going to be the title track, and the more I listened to it, you could tell that title track was the kind of the anthem where it draws you in. There's lots of melodies in there. There's lots of guitar solos. So it's not one of those songs that's going to blast you to death, which we have those too.
Yeah, you do.
But you could definitely tell that Conjure the Storm, the title track, draws you in a different way than the rest of the album, and I kind of felt like it was the best portrayal of the whole album as a whole when it comes to the way that it is written. It actually happened to be the longest song on the album, which was not intentional either. But we actually released a animated video for the title track as well. So
cool! I didn't see that yet.
Everybody should go check that out.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. All right, we're going to take a break here and crank up Conjure the Storm, so we'll be right back. Here's Conjure the Storm. Well, yeah, that was just Conjure the Storm, our favorite here at the Thunderhead show. I don't know if everyone knows, but when we air a show, that's our opening choice, and we play it every show so that everyone can listen to it.
Awesome. I didn't even know that.
No, now you do. We took it as it was our song. We just love it, and it's amazing.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's definitely went over really well, especially live.
That's what I was going to ask you. What's your favorite tracks to play live in each band when you're out on tour?
Ooh, that's hard to say. There's certain parts of every song that I really like getting to for different reasons, but just for crowd interaction, I would say Conjure the Storm, not because it's even the title track. It's just built to be played live, and it has like an anthem feel to it. Even though the song is so new, we actually had people like singing along, and they knew more than just the choruses, which was really cool. So I would say Conjure the Storm for Nevalra. For the Antichrist, probably Where Is Your God? Because that's one of the old school tracks that everyone knows, and there's like some pretty cool guitar work in the middle of it that I get to do. We do some arpeggio stuff where both guitars are doing the arpeggios, and we're doing the octaves. So it's not an easy little part to do. And we kind of made it a challenge between us is when we do that part, me and Robert, the other guitar player of Eames, we look at each other and kind of just stare each other down, as we're doing that part, and then we kind of roll our eyes and laugh at the end of the part and then move on. So it's become a thing on stage. That
has to be a lot of fun for everybody to see, and you guys are interacting like that. That's real cool.
Yeah, it's a specific part that we're waiting on, so we kind of make faces at each other at the end of it, and we haven't messed it up yet, which is really weird because it's a really hard part to do.
Well, you don't ever like to take anything easy, you know that.
Yeah.
Even from the beginning, you've always been a very good multitasker.
Oh, yeah, you got to be in this business.
So I know you have some new music gear out there, and you actually have an artist page. It's through, if hopefully I say this correctly, it's Asiamo? Is that the name of it?
Yeah, that's one of the parent companies to Moore Audio, and also Yo-Yo amps. They do like these little mini amps that are pretty cool. So it's kind of a parent company for two companies that I'm working with now. And Moore Audio actually gave me a Wicked One signature guitar preset where I could create my own tone, and I sent it to them. They put it up so other guitar players can download it into their Moore Audio pedal boards and stuff, and they can actually pull up exactly my tone.
That's
and
cool.
Play their stuff. Yeah,
I was looking at that site. I'm like, that's pretty cool, and everything's pretty reasonable. It's not overly priced.
Yeah, they have some crazy technology that's at very good prices. Because I have some other gear, obviously, that runs over $2,000, and then there's things that they have. It pretty much has all the same technology for like less than half that cost. So wow. It's crazy that fans and guitarists can get on there and get top-notch gear and technology for like a fraction of the cost. And it's good for me too, because all the touring and traveling, I've had all kinds of equipment stolen, broken, ruined in the rain at festivals, all kinds of things. So it's not a huge expensive fix for me or the company,
right?
If I need to replace something too. So it's kind of a win-win.
That's cool. So you had stuff stolen? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's happened a couple times. I guess my chances went up when my traveling went up. So
yeah, that's true. Actually, we'll go back to the tour because I want to, learn some more things that have gone on with you. How many countries was the tour?
22 countries, I think. Mm-hmm. Overall, they said it was 90% of the European territory.
Wow!
So we hit almost everything all in one big long shot. Because usually a tour is about 4 weeks, give or take, and this one was pushed in almost 7 weeks with travel days.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was like your whole summer.
Oh yeah, yeah. By the time I got home, I realized that like the 4th of July was already gone, and like all those things that you see for the summer, and it's like the whole thing was gone when I got home. It was weird. I happened to be in England on the 4th of July.
Hey, that's pretty cool.
So there was lots of American jokes over there. So
Yeah, I'm sure. I know they have fireworks and stuff like that around the holidays.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think they're legal there. I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't see any, but of course I was like in town. So
Yeah,
in London, Manchester, Bristol. So I was definitely in the cities.
that's cool. And now, how did the crowds differ in each country?
You could definitely tell that there was a difference.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest difference is between just the American crowds versus the European crowds, because the American crowds go more crazy, I think. They want to get physical with each other. They want to start the mosh pits. They want to lose their minds. The Europeans some of them are like that, but I would say the majority of them are kind of standing there and enjoying the music in a completely different way. They're like dissecting it, and they're paying closer attention than the Americans, but there's less of the, like I said, the mosh pits and, them losing their minds, running into each other.
Sitting up on each other's shoulders.
Yeah, it's completely different than it is in America. Both of the way they react are really cool. So when we went over there, like I could tell there was a lot of people that were, like I said, dissecting the music, and they were like drawing themselves into it rather than, losing their minds and not paying attention as much, but having a good time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
so
cool.
That was the biggest difference. And the countries over there as well. I would say we were in some of the territories that were in the former Soviet Union as well. And you could definitely tell there was a lot of cultural differences. And it was really weird to wake up every morning and be speaking a different language again, because I tried to keep up with the schedule the best way that I could, but I kind of gave up and like 2 weeks in. So we would just, get off the bus, do our load in, start doing sound checks, and then I'd be like, where are we at today? And they're like, oh, you're in Belgium today. Like, I didn't even know until
you got there, or just before.
So yeah, it was definitely quite the experience.
So you were saying that you were in the bus. What other ways did you guys travel around? Did you have any other means of transportation besides the bus?
Yeah, we had to catch 6 different ferries, which was quite the spectacle with the tour bus and trailer that we had, because it was a double-decker tour bus, so it was huge. And we would pull up onto the ferry, and they would pull us underneath. Then we would be able to get out, obviously. So we were on 6 different ferries. Some of them were kind of short, like getting from France to England were between 2 and 3 hours, but some of them were like much longer, between Finland and Sweden, I think it was like an 8-hour one. And that seemed like an eternity after a while, because there was so much travel. But of course, we took planes and stuff there to and from. So we did, the planes, tour buses, ferries. And when we had the smaller vehicles, there were some fans, promoters, people like that would show up, and they would. I have a buddy in London who actually picked us up and drove us around town and showed us, like Buckingham Palace and like all those cool things that the other guys didn't get to see because, they can't take the tour bus in those areas.
Right. So did you guys get any seasickness when you were on the ferries at all?
No, mostly we were all asleep.
I wasn't sure if you were seated or if you had to stand or how those things work, because I've never been on one.
These were so big, you could barely tell that you were moving, honestly. So it wasn't, didn't really hit you that way.
So do you have any new projects in the works for Nevalra at this time, or are you getting prepared for anything else that's going on? Yeah,
Nevalra, we're trying to get a United States, Canadian, Mexico, a whole North American tour together for Conjure the Storm, because a lot of the fan base, obviously, they know who we are here, and we were trying to expand our fan base by getting to Europe. And we did that dramatically, I think. But all of our fan base that was here that has seen us and those that haven't seen us, they are like all over us saying, "When is the U.S. tour? Why didn't we get the album release tour?" That just happened to be the way that it fell, which was the best move for the band. But we're definitely trying to get a big, extensive North American tour for the same reason, and just get that album out there. and also go to South America, and even Australia and Japan have been poking around to see if we would be interested in coming.
Really, Japan? That's cool. I heard their fan base is huge in Japan. They love metal.
Oh yeah, definitely. So we're going to try to hit all those areas, and while that's all happening, I'm already working on the new album that will be, in a year and a half from now.
Oh, come on. Why are you taking so long? Hurry up.
So, yeah, it was very inspiring to be on tour with Karak Angren, actually. I got to watch their showmanship and their dramatic effects that they do, and I was on the tour bus, actually, and our album had only been out about a week. We had just started the tour, and we were, 6 or 7 shows into the tour, and I was feeling super inspired, and I actually, on the tour bus, started writing the next album, and, this album has only been out a week. Damn. And I was like, already working on the next one. I'm like, super inspired. So
hey, you got to do it when you get the ideas in your head.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So we're definitely really pushing hard on it, and I'm trying to work on the songwriting ahead of time, so that way I'm not, pressured down into this album needs to be out by this time, and then I'm sitting there with half of the material I really need. So I'm always one to work ahead.
Well, I'm going to give Karak Angren a huge shout out here on this because you know what? I want to interview them next.
Yeah, they're all really good guys, honestly. Are. I do have to say, a lot of the big headliner bands, they can throw their weight around, which deservingly so, but Karak Angren was not one of those bands. They took care of us. They were always looking out for us. We legitimately made friends with them and hung out with them every evening. So I have to give them a shout out too, because you don't see that everywhere.
No,
when
you
it comes
don't.
To the really big bands. So
that's amazing. I would love to hang out with them. That would be real cool. And of course, you guys too. So speaking of your tour, are you guys going to be heading out to New York again? So maybe we could possibly get there.
Absolutely, that's part of the plan.
All right, let's check out a second track here off your new album, Conjure the Storm. Crank up some It Dies in Vain. right, that was It Dies in Vain. Where did the name for that track come from?
It's a combination of the lyrics. I would just want everyone to kind of delve into the lyrics on that one and take it the way they want to take it. I want everyone to be creative with that one rather than me just be, this is what it means. So I definitely want everyone to go check out that track. It's actually the music video, the main music video for the album, and kind of see what it means to them.
Then everyone can hit you up and let you know. Where is the music video? Is it on YouTube, or do you have the official?
Yeah, it's on YouTube on the record label's channel.
Okay, cool.
Which is In Theory Audio.
All right, that's cool. Oh, what was it like for you pulling double duty on tour, playing, Wicked One with the Antichrist, and then hopping on with Nevalra, going back and forth?
Yeah, that was not easy to do. The first couple weeks were pretty tough until I kind of figured out how I needed to do it. I would play the set with Nevalra. Usually I don't do that with any kind of corpse paint. But of course I do with the Antichrist, and it takes a while to put all that on. Not just the paint, but the entire outfit. So I went up there about 3/4 of that uniform with Nevalra. So I went up there with corpse paint, which I usually don't do. But it's hard to fit 2 hours of painting in a 15-minute window of changeover, so I kind of had to do it that way. The first 2 weeks were tough, and once I got it into a routine, it was like I loved it to go up there and play an entire set with Nevalra, jump off, put the rest of my stuff on, get back up there and do it again. A lot of the fans absolutely loved it too, because some of them didn't know that I was in both bands. So I would get up there, like especially in Poland, there was a bunch of kids up front that were loving it. That were maybe 17 to 19 in age, and they were absolutely loving the Nevalra set, and they kept waving me over. They're like asking me questions. They want to talk to me. I was like, you're gonna have to give me a second. I have to move stuff over. I got to go change a little bit because I'm playing in the next band too. And they were like, oh man, he's in the next band too. So it was pretty cool to do that, because a lot of the fans didn't know that. So when I got back up there, a little bit different with more of the stage attire on there, they were even more excited that I got up there a second time. That's
really cool. Now, how big were the crowds? I mean,
they were pretty big. Yeah, they were pretty good, especially for the festival seasons. Because I know from what I hear, because there's like 200 festivals in Europe. It's insane how many festivals there are in the summer. So it's hard to load the clubs full of attendance when everybody's running to the festivals. Is what I heard, but they were pretty full. So we're pretty happy about that.
That's cool. Now, would you go back and do another whole tour again, back in the same areas, or would you like stagger it around in different areas?
Yeah, we're going to try to hit all those areas and then some. The plan is to go back next year and do it all again, and even add some more onto it even, and try to expand it from there.
That's cool. What was it like being on stage with Phil Anselmo and singing with him? That had to be amazing.
Yeah, I keep telling everyone, teenage me would have never believed that.
Yeah.
Because I met him last year at a different festival in Force Fest in Mexico, and I hung out with him like 3 separate occasions while I was down there. So then we happened to cross paths. They were playing the same festival in Sweden, which is Gefel Metal Festival, which is between 20 and 30,000 people. And we happened to both be there, and also my buddy Derek. He plays bass with Phil Anselmo and the Illegals now, which is really cool, because we actually grew up like just a few miles away from each other. And we happened to meet in Sweden for the same reason. A teenage me would have never believed that either. And so he actually plays bass with Phil. And it was usually when something like that happens and you do kind of a guest vocal thing, they take you to the side ahead of time, and they would usually say something like, we're going to do on the 3rd song, that's when you'll come up and we'll do this thing. But it wasn't like that at all. I was just side stage taking pictures, showing support for my buddies, because I know 3 out of 5 of the guys in the band, including Phil. And I was just standing there showing support for friends, and They played, I don't know, 3 or 4 songs, and they walked over to me between songs, and they said, "Hey, you're gonna do the chorus, sing the choruses with us on the next song." And I was like, "What?"
Because I was like, completely "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I was completely unprepared for this, So I was like, "Well," and I kind of just went, "What?" And he goes, "I want you to go grab that microphone, and you're gonna sing the choruses on the next song." And I was like, I'm like grabbing my phone real quick, and I handed it to my drummer. I was like, "You've got to get this."
Oh, hell yeah.
So, yeah, it was pretty cool. I get to walk out there to, around 30,000 people and sing Pantera with Phil himself.
That's cool. I don't know how I would have reacted, but I probably couldn't sing, so we wouldn't worry about that. So, speaking of your wardrobe that you wear, I know you said the company is in Sweden, and what did it entail for them to make that, actually? Is that made out of chainmail?
Yeah, it's all actually real stuff. It has real bones on it. It has, it's real chainmail. It has different types of leather and buckles and all those things. It's all made of the real stuff. That's one of the reasons it's so heavy. When I hand it to somebody, they don't realize how heavy it is until I hand them that vest, and they're like, "Wow." And I've gotten used to it being heavy, so... but it's actually one of the guys that does the attire for the TV series Vikings.
Yeah.
And so that's pretty cool. He works on that show, and he does all their attire as well. And Andreas of Antichrist, the vocalist, he brought this guy in, and he had him do all of them. So he redid all 5 of us, so that way we all kind of matched in it, but we're completely different in the same sense.
That's cool. I wonder if they're going to bring the Vikings back. Haven't heard anything.
Yeah. I've only seen a few episodes of that show, but it's kind of a cool trivia fact that that's the guy that did the Antichrist stage attire.
That is very cool. All right, we're going to check out your last track here. Here's Of Ruination. Crank it up. Yeah, that was Of Ruination, another awesome track from Nevalra. Tell us about that track, please.
Yeah, that was the first single that we had released on this new album, Conjure the Storm. It was one of the favorites for all three of us when we were tracking it, and when it was mixed and mastered, we thought that was one of the best representations of how heavy the album was going to be and also how melodic the album was going to be. So the three of us decided that was going to be the first single to be released, and so we released a music video, or a lyric video with the record label, and it went over pretty well. That one's not easy to play live. There's lots of shredding guitar things, and I have to really be focused on that song. A lot of the other songs, even the technical songs, I just go on autopilot, really, and it just kind of happens. But on that one, it's like, all right, here's the count. I need to pay attention to this part and this part just in case, so it's definitely one of the more difficult ones to play live.
That's cool. You should do a lesson for people so they can learn how to play it.
Yeah, I've actually had people ask about like putting out a tablature book, and I've thought about either putting it in tablature so other guitar players could learn it, or just doing like some videos, some lessons for the new album, because I've had lots of interest for that, actually.
That's cool. I know you had mentioned offline earlier that you had something special going on that you couldn't talk about right now, but we might as well tell everyone. Scott's got something going on again. Yeah,
I'm working on a third project. I can't really say much other than that, but I think it's going to wow a few people, a lot of people, when it finally hits the light, so to speak. So
I wonder if that was a hint right there. All right. When people want to get in contact with you, where can they find you? What are your social media websites?
Just the two main official websites have links to everything, Nevalra.com and ScottNames.com. And that'll find everything that I work on for Nevalra and otherwise. Cool.
And I know you're going to Mexico upcoming in November with the Antichrist, correct?
Yeah, that's going to be the next one. We're going to get to play with Emperor in Mexico, so I'm looking forward to that. They've definitely been a big influence on the black metal side of things.
Oh yeah, and they love you in Mexico.
Oh man, the fan base in Mexico is crazy. So yeah, I can't wait to get back down there. We did like a meet and greet signing, and there was just kept us busy for like 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't see that coming. I figured a meet and greet, 30 minutes, you sign your stuff, take some photos, and move on. And we were there 2 hours plus later, and there were still people in line wanting photos. They were bringing us special things that they had made for us.
They gave you a flag.
They bring. Yep. Yeah, they bring all kinds of stuff like flags, artwork. They've had us sign guitars and stuff. So the fan base in Mexico is insane. So I can't wait to see those guys again.
Well, that's cool. Well, we'll have to touch base after that tour, see what's going on.
Yes, absolutely.
Anyone out there you want to give a shout out to? Anyone, in particular?
Just all the fans, everybody that ordered the pre-orders. Thank you guys too. If it wasn't for you guys and everyone else just supporting the band, I couldn't, go out there and do what I love, is just create music and play in front of people. So without all you guys, it couldn't be done.
All right. Well, before we head out, can you do a shout out for the radio quick?
This is Scott, the Wicked One of the Antichrist and Nevalra, and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio for Metal Reign Supreme.
Oh yeah. Thank you, Scott, and we'll talk to you soon, and hope your next tour goes well. We look forward to your new music. Hurry it up.
Absolutely. We'll see you guys on the road.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Cheers, Scott.